You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 167, Clarity During a Confusing Breakup. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, Breakup Coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, my beautiful brave hearts. How is everyone doing? I have a story time today. I'm really into stories. So I was on a call with my brave hearts inside of Get Over Your Ex. And there was a new Braveheart who had just joined. It was her first time getting coached, super fun. And she said to me, she goes, Dorothy, I am still just hung up on this conversation I had with my ex. He said, I am not ready to close the door yet, but I'm also not sure this is what I want. How many of you are in this situation right now? Raise your hand. Okay, so I want you to think about how you feel when you're in this kind of situation. Maybe you're not in it now. Maybe you've been in it in the past. Because she said, she was like, I have just been so confused with what to do because I don't know what this means. He says he's not ready to close the door yet, but he's also not sure he knows what he wants. What does this even mean? And the interesting part about all of this is that the whole reason she decided to have this conversation in the first place with her ex was to gain clarity. I mean, how many of us have tried this, right? We think communication is key. We'll get clarity after this conversation, right? We've all tried this, whether in a breakup or with our boss or in relationships. And you know what's interesting is that a lot of times we still leave confused. And specifically within breakups, we still leave confused because even if they give us a straightforward answer, oftentimes we don't want to hear it because we don't agree with it. It's not what we want. So maybe we even hear it, but we don't interpret it correctly. We don't absorb it. We don't get on board with it. Instead, it's easier to stay confused instead of have to feel the pain of the rejection or the betrayal of the real answer that they've given us. Right? It's not what we wanted to hear. So in this specific situation with my client, she mentioned that she had just been feeling stuck. She felt stuck since that last conversation, which had happened 2 weeks ago prior to this conversation that we're having in our coaching session. And she spent her time just replaying the conversation over and over again, texting and calling her ex, to get answers to follow-up questions that she forgot to ask in the moment. I do this all the time. Not with my ex, but in other situations. And truthfully, just getting nowhere with any of that. You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing. Confusion doesn't just happen to us. Confusion is a feeling that is created by the thoughts we think, the stories we tell ourselves. So the reason she's feeling confused is because she has an optional story, an optional belief that I don't know what this means. Did you guys even know that that was an option? When we are in it, we list that off as if it's a fact. I don't know what this means. And it's easy for our friends and our family to get on board yeah, we don't know what it means either. Or when your ex says one thing and then does something completely opposite, what does that even mean? It's easier to tell ourselves that than to just say he lied because he doesn't actually want what he said he wanted. Right? Okay, so when she thinks, I don't know what this means, she feels confused. And then she shows up confused. And then it results in her never deciding what it means for her. And too often as humans, we are giving our power away to external circumstances. We think that having a conversation creates clarity, instead of realizing that even if we have a conversation, what truly happens is our thoughts change. We say, oh, I understand that now. I get that now. And all of those thoughts are optional. All of that's available to you now, even regardless of a conversation. I'm not saying I'm anti-conversations, people, But I'm just showing you we don't need these external circumstances to create clarity. Okay? Because even if we have the conversation, sometimes we still leave with confusion. Not because the conversation was confusing, but because our thoughts are confusing. So here are some common thoughts that I see that tend to create confusion within breakups, okay? And I'm going to use the he pronoun. I'll throw in some she pronouns, but I didn't want to have to repeat each one saying he, she, but I will when it makes sense, okay? So I don't know what that means is one of those. I don't know what he or she meant by that. I don't know why he or she said that's what they want. Right? I don't know why he said he wants to be with me, but hasn't left his wife yet. That's an example of that one. I don't know why he or she didn't respond to me. I don't know what it means when he or she talks to me like that. Notice how the beginning of all of this is starting with I don't know. This is a very common theme. One of the things that happens inside of Get Over Your Ex is you're not allowed to use the words I don't know. It's mandatory that you take that out of your vocabulary. And of course, if you come to coaching and you say, I don't know, I just simply ask if you did know. And we don't proceed with coaching until you come to something. Because I don't know is optional and it never gets you anywhere. So notice any I don't know statements that you might be having. Notice any of those thoughts that I listed that you might be experiencing or subscribing to. And here's what I have to say about those thoughts. You might not know what it means for them, meaning your ex, but you do get to decide what their behavior or what their words mean for you. What? Let me say that again. You might not know what their behavior or words means for them, but you do get to decide what those words and that behavior means for you. So what does that mean for you? For my client, she said, remember her ex stated, I don't know if this is what I want. I'm not ready to close the door, but I'm also not sure this is what I want. And so for her, this meant she doesn't want to live in the gray area. She said, I don't want that. And therefore, those words from him means it's a no for me. It doesn't matter what it is for him, but she got to decide what it meant for her. And for her, she's very clear about the fact, I don't want to be in the gray. I don't know what his words mean for him, but I know that for me, I'm not willing to live in that gray. So today, I want you to look at where am I creating confusion and acting like it's just happening to me? And then I want you to ask yourself, what does this mean for me? What does this person's words mean for me? What does this person's action mean for me? That's something that you purely just get to decide upon. And boom, clarity. Okay? My client said that she felt clear when she believed, I know I don't want to live in the gray. And from that place, she shows up clear and concise and confident in what she's going after, which then results in she doesn't live in the gray. She lives in the crystal clear, baby. She creates a very clear, concise, and confident life from that place. All right, my brave hearts, I hope you have an amazing, beautiful week. I am sending you so much love, and I will talk to you next time. If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.